We've seen you be an incredible NBA player. We've seen you be an incredible high school basketball coach. We've seen you be an NBA assistant coach. But when did you decide that you wanted to be a college basketball coach?
I mean, it was between being a college coach and being an NBA coach, and I just figured, I would do either one. But college coach, I think would be better because I'd be able to help the kids, develop the kids, and kind of push these kids to where I've been and know where they're trying to go. So, kind of give them the teaching that they're not getting from the other levels. So I went to NBA training camp one time, and I remember them, teaching them. I'm not going to say the team, teaching them how to X out of a double team. And I went up to one of the coaches, and I was like, "Hey, why are they teaching this now? They don't understand. They don't understand. They don't get it. They're like, no one's ever taught them." So I want to be one of those guys that, are teaching these guys and get them ready for that next level.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Now, let me ask you this, Coach, because obviously going back to Sacramento, where I know you got all the jerseys behind you, but for the average fan, we're thinking about those high-paced Kings teams with Rick Adelman and Chris Webber and Vlade Divac and, of course, Doug Christie, who's now coaching in town as well. But what was it something specific about Sacramento State that made you say, hey, that's where I want to be?
I mean, it was just, you put stuff out there and feel about it. I felt I'd be the most comfortable in Sacramento. I tried for the job 4 years ago. I applied for it, didn't get it. And I just thought that Sacramento was the right place for me. It wasn't my timing 4 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago. And, I sat there at my press conference and was wondering why I could never get a job and why it wasn't working out. And then I realized, looked at everything and like, okay, this is what God was making me wait for. So, I know this is the right spot and I know the time is right.
Now, it's been less than 2 weeks since you've been named the head coach. And in that time, if the initial announcement wasn't exciting enough for Sacramento State fans, there have been a lot of reasons to continue to get excited. And I know you can't talk about specific recruits just yet. But tell me, did you have an approach for the first 2 weeks or for the first month of your tenure here? And if so, what was it?
They gave me, I think I got the job March 25th. And, it's been probably approximately a month. And as soon as I got the job, 15 minutes after I got the job, I had like 200 text messages. I had videos from all over people sending me kids. And it was just like, I'm going to say overwhelming, but it was like, we have a lot of kids that want to come here and want to play. So I knew that getting kids to come here would never be a problem. But it's been nonstop. For some, we've been doing official visits and unofficial visits for the last month or however long that we've been doing, a couple of weeks, 3 weeks maybe. And it's just, it's been a nonstop carousel for us. And, we're finally putting our team together and we're liking what we see.
Now, back on March 25th, when you were presumably maybe already had some names in mind for staff, had there been a conversation with Dr. Shaquille O'Neal before that, or how did all of that come to fruition for him to be your general manager?
No, there was no conversation of that. We had really no intentions of that. We sat there and we got a guy that worked out his son, we were talking to him and he's like, hey, what do you think about the kid coming to play school there? I said, that'd be great. Let's get him. I didn't really think about, Shaq coming in and doing anything up until like a couple of weeks ago when I reached out to him and I talked to him about his son and how he wanted me to coach him and approach the whole situation. And I just asked him like, hey, would you want to put your hands on this program and kind of help us? And without hesitation, he said, yeah, let me get the logistics and let's see what we got to do. And that's how easy it was.
Wow. Now, have you guys had a chance to plot out those logistics? And if so, what kind of things will Shaq be handling?
We're doing that. He handle whatever he wants. That's Shaquille O'Neal. You know what I mean? But we're putting stuff together as far as trying to get, NIL for these kids and just build up our program, build up the locker room, the weight room, um, the training room, the gym. They're getting a new arena over there. So, I mean, it's little by little. The president, Dr. Luke Wood and Mark Orr, have been great. And, they've been helping with this whole situation to try to make this a top-notch program. You can see what they're doing with football, with the hiring of Coach Marion. And we're going to a different level right now in both basketball and football.
You're coming back to the college coaching ranks at a time of unprecedented change between the transfer portal and the NIL. What is your approach to roster construction in times like this?
I went out and, you got to look for a point guard. The biggest thing that we wanted to get was you got to have some shooters. I mean, it's like you're on 2K a little bit. You put your team together. You need a couple bigs, some guys that can shoot, fours that are athletic, point guards that can handle the ball, defensive point guards, guys that can run your team, guys that are aggressive and look to score. So, I mean, we're looking at all. My coaching staff have been doing great. And with all, we get probably 50 videos a day and look at videos every day and try to put this team together.
And when it comes to your style of play, are there any influences that you are going to draw upon, whether it's Rick Adelman or Lute Olson, anyone in particular that we will see remnants of in your approach?
Kind of more like when I was in Sacramento, a lot of pass and cuts and split game and stuff like that. But I want to run, get up and down the court, get teams to run, tire teams out, and just play basketball, have fun doing it, give these kids the confidence that they need and let them play the way that I've seen them play and get. That's what I'm recruiting for. You get a lot of coaches that you recruit a kid and the way he plays in high school and he tries to come play the same way at your college, and a lot of coaches don't let him. That's not going to happen here. I want you to be aggressive. I want you to score points. I'll tell you. I told a whole bunch of the kids already. I'll take you out if you pass the wide open shots. Shoot the ball, be aggressive, make plays for your teammates. Best thing, the most thing I want to make happen is don't be selfish. Don't let the ball stick. Play for each other and have fun.
But you mentioned those Sacramento days, and you guys had Pete Carrill, the architect of the Princeton offense, on those sidelines as an assistant coach. But you played with incredible pace, as you mentioned. Even if it's not going to be exactly how you guys play this year, can you talk to me about what that was like? Because so many people think of the Princeton offense as like this older, antiquated, slower thing. And then you guys had it running on diesel fuel. I mean, what was it like to play in that kind of system?
It was great. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to come here and play in Sacramento. Was their style of play in the fan core that they had. And, I was in Vancouver for 3 years, and it was just different. Back then they played inside out. You throw the ball into the post if they double team, you play out of it. The big guys make a pass out, and you play out of that. Once I got there, it was a different ball game. There was a lot of reads. I felt my IQ was high enough where I could play in a style like that. And was just, Rick let us play, and it was just fun, man. It was real basketball. No one had any egos on the team, and we were just there to have fun.
You also had two incredibly talented passers in the front court, obviously, in Vlade Divac and Chris Webber. Your backcourt partner at the time, Doug Christie, is now the head coach of the Kings themselves. What is that like for you two to have these two jobs at the exact same time?
Well, I know it's like for me, I'm blessed and I'm grateful and thankful that, Sacramento, that Mark Orr and Dr. Luke Woods giving me a chance. But, for Doug, that's the big time, going back to the team where, I think he probably has best years in being able to be the head coach and bring Sacramento back to winning again. I think he's got to feel great. I think it's a well-deserved spot that he got. And, he got put in a tough situation, getting a few superstars traded halfway through the season. Doesn't usually happen. You get two, a superstar back. it's not the same thing as, getting, role player. So I think Doug did a great job on the cards he was dealt, and I think he deserves to have that head coach's spot.
Coach, without saying any names in particular, you've already got some high profile recruits in the last month. How has your experience dealing with the limelight, how is that going to enable you to guide them through some of the pressures of all the attention that comes with playing basketball in this social media era, if you will?
I mean, you just got to play. Like I said, I'm going to give them the confidence to play basketball, have fun, and, give them that winning mentality. Go out there and expect to win. Sacramento State's had 2 winning seasons in the last 30 years or whatever it is. And, we're looking to change that. And I don't want, I'm trying to get different uniforms. I don't even want to play in those uniforms that they've been playing. And I want to get new everything to get that, change the culture and get everything out of there that's old fashioned.
I love that. I love that. That reminds me of what Tommy Amaker did when he got Harvard. He rebranded the whole thing and completely changed the trajectory of the program. Coach, my last question for you. Is there a player today, could be college, could be the NBA, but you say, you know what? I see a little bit of Mike Bibby in that guy.
I think, I would say maybe Jalen Brunson. He wants the ball in his hands at the end of games. He hits those shots. He's tough. And, and isn't afraid to fail. I think that's exactly how I was. And, I love his game. And I love what he's doing for the Knicks.
Coach, very cool. We see that Knicks jersey just over your shoulder. And I got to tell you, that's awesome backdrop. We appreciate you so much making time. We're looking forward to following you this season at Sacramento State. Thanks so much, Coach.
Thank you for having me on.